Welcome back to our channel. Have you ever wondered why bees die after they sting us? It's a fascinating and somewhat tragic fact of nature. Today we're diving into the surprising science behind this phenomenon and exploring the reasons why these incredible creatures sacrifice themselves when they sting. Bees play a crucial role in our ecosystem, from pollinating plants to producing honey, but the act of stinging can be a death sentence for them. Why does this happen? Is it a defense mechanism, a mistake of evolution, or something else entirely? In this video, we will uncover the biological and evolutionary reasons behind this sacrificial act and what it means for the hive and the individual bees. Before we get started, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss out on our latest videos. Let's get buzzing. At the end of the bee's body, there is an organ called the stinger, which, contrary to expectations, primarily serves for laying eggs, with the eggs exiting from this organ. However, at the same time, the stinger can be used for another function, which is protection and repelling attacks on the hive. When looking at an anatomical picture of the stinger, we find that it is a thin tube through which the eggs exit, surrounded by two plates filled with spikes resembling a saw. These plates move alternately. One moves up while the other moves down. This mechanism allows the bee to pierce the skin of any animal that poses a threat to it. It's worth mentioning that bees are naturally solitary and try to avoid anything that might disrupt their production. Bees resort to stinging only if someone gets too close to their hive or they feel threatened. Therefore, bees away from the hive do not sting anyone. If you see a bee in a garden standing on a flower or any plant, it is very unlikely to sting you, even if it is very close to you. The only situation which it might sting you is when you mess with it, because at that moment it will defend itself. One of the strange things about bees is that when they sting a human, they die within a few moments. If you ever wondered what happens, the answer is simple. The bee's stinger is not originally designed to sting humans or creatures with thick skin. This stinger is more suited for stinging insects that attack the bee's colony. As mentioned before, the stinger is a tube surrounded by two barbed plates. The barbs on these plates are curved in one direction, which makes it difficult for the stinger to be removed once it penetrates a hard surface like human skin. It's similar to how a nail stays firmly in a wall once hammered in due to the shape of its barb. You might ask, where's the problem? What causes the bee to die? The problem lies in the fact that this stinger is connected to vital parts of the bee's body, such as the reproductive system, the stomach, some muscles, and even nerves. Thus, when the stinger is embedded in human skin, and the bee tries with all its might to pull it out again, it cannot remove it because it is fixed very firmly like nails. As a result of the great pulling force the bee exerts, the stinger completely separates from the bee's body. Unfortunately, the stinger does not separate alone. It pulls with it the stomach, muscles, and part of the nerves, causing internal bleeding in the bee. This tearing is the main reason why the bee dies after stinging us. However, the queen bee has the ability to sting human skin and then withdraw her stinger without any tearing. This is because the structure of the queen's stinger is slightly different from that of the worker bees in the hive. The queen's stinger is designed to lay a large number of eggs, up to about 2,000 eggs per day, so it is smooth, which means that even if she stings a human, it does not get stuck in the skin when it is withdrawn. If we look at this issue with insects, we'll find it's completely different. If a group of insects attacks a beehive, The bee can sting the insect's bodies multiple times, inserting and withdrawing its stinger repeatedly without dying or suffering any harm. This is because the bodies of these insects are somewhat fragile and do not have solid fibers like human skin, allowing the bee to penetrate this surface easily. One of the peculiar things about a bee's stinger is that after it stings a person and tries to pull itself away but fails, the stinger separates from the bee's body. The stinger that remains in the person's body stays active, literally. The nerve cells in the stinger make its muscles move and penetrate the skin deeper and deeper. While still in the skin, the stinger continues to pump the bee's venom, and this can go on for several minutes, even though the bee has already died. It's similar to how a lizard's tail keeps moving after it's cut off. For this reason, it is important to remove the stinger from our body as quickly as possible if we are stung by a bee. The longer the stinger remains in our body, the more it allows the melittin to spread, which is the substance that causes redness and swelling. Finally, not all bees sting. Firstly, all male bees, regardless of their type, do not sting. Males are peaceful, kind, and gentle, but only female bees sting. However, there are types of bees where the females do not sting. For example, the honeybees that are common in Egypt and Arab countries, all of their females sting. But there is an entire family of bees called Andrenidae. None of the bees in this family sting. There are also other families in the semi-tropical regions of Africa, Southeast Asia, parts of Brazil and Mexico, whose bees do not sting. Their stings are so short and have no effect that biologists call this type of bee stingless bees. However, the general rule remains that if a bee stings you, it is a female. However, since you have made it this far, let me give you a final warning. Wasps are among the most harmful insects, and unfortunately, they are very aggressive. Try to avoid them as much as possible, especially since the wasp stinger does not have any barbs like that of bees, meaning it can sting you 60 times without being harmed. Wasp stings, or their venom, consist of substances that are completely different from bee venom. As wasp stings are very, very aggressive, try to avoid them as much as possible, especially since the wasp stinger is more anti than alkaline. Some types of wasps also contain high amounts of acetylcholine in their venom, which is a pain stimulant, making the sting in this case very painful. To differentiate between a bee and a wasp, we find that the size of a bee is usually smaller, ranging from 2 to 4 c, while wasps are larger, typically exceeding 5 c in length. As for body shape, a bee's body is round and well proportioned, while a wasp has very thin parts and other thicker parts. And if we observe a bee closely, although this is difficult, we will notice that there is soft fur covering its body, while a wasp's body is smooth. Regarding colors, bees, contrary to popular belief, are not yellow but tend more towards orange, while wasps are bright yellow or completely black. If you see one, run away immediately. Finally, wasps build their nests from mud or dried wood, so if you see an insect emerging from a nest like the one in the pictures, know that it is a wasp and not a bee, so don't mess with it to avoid getting hurt. That's all. Who got to this point? Everyone who got to this point, you are the best. Give us a like before you leave so we know how many people made it to the end. And don't forget, if you have any questions, write them in the comments below the video so we can answer them in the next video.